Inspirational Creatives, episode 256.
Hey, this is Giannulis of Entrepreneur on Fire, and you're listening to the Inspirational Creatives Podcast with Rob Lawrence.
Welcome to Inspirational Creatives. I'm your host, Rob Lawrence. Join me every Friday as I chat with successful artists, producers, and creative entrepreneurs who share powerful stories and strategies. They can help you to create the life that you want. Listen each week as these inspirational creatives show you how to take your creativity to the next level. You'll learn how to create a sustainable business that inspires others and gives you the financial freedom and lifestyle that you want. Thanks for listening. Make sure you sign up at inspirationalcreatives.com to get free exclusive bonus material. And now, on with the show. Rob here, and welcome to another short action episode of Inspirational Creatives. Today we're going to talk about 3 ways you can break into a new market, plus, as a small bonus, 2 ways you can develop new habits towards taking sustainable action. But before we get stuck in, if you're new to Inspirational Creatives, these short action episodes appear every Wednesday, and they're designed to help you take some small yet life-changing action towards living the life that you want. The idea is that these seemingly small ideas can have a big impact on your life, and I hope for you that today's wisdom is no exception. Now, as you can imagine, creating an impact or breaking into a new market is a lot easier to say than do. But I hope that by the end of this short action episode, you will have some new ideas on how you can position your big ideas in a more powerful way. One that will resonate with you and hopefully a new market and audience. In episode 255, I interviewed successful copywriter and CEO Mike Giannulis. In that episode, Mike kindly shared some of his moving life story and how he was able to lose over 100 kilos, that's 250 pounds, in weight, which has saved his life. He's also somebody that's been able to overcome a stutter. Mike shared his best tips on how to succeed in life and business. He's clearly somebody who knows how to take action. I believe action always trumps thinking when it comes to succeeding with your creative goals, whatever they may be. And when it comes to learning and breaking into a new market, this principle is absolutely true. It's all about taking action. So let's begin with Mike's 3 tips on how to break a market.
One of the things that I teach, and I won't go into the full depth of it, but when it comes to breaking in or getting into to a new market, you really only have 3 strategies that you can kind of hold on to. You can either be first. So if you're first, you're pretty good, right? If you're the first guy that ever sold like how to start an internet business back in like 98, you pretty much owned it, right? There was no one else. You didn't have to say anything fancy. You just had to say, here, start an internet business. I'll just show you how. So if you're first, that's awesome. You're going to do great, unless it's a niche where there isn't anyone that wants to pay for it in there. So you always, if you are the first one and it's 2018 or beyond, you kind of want to know, why am I first, right? Because there might be, that is not a good niche. But if you can't be first, the next best thing is to be better. So you find a way to take what first has done and do an even better job. And if you can't be better because they've just already got it, then you have to be different.
When it comes to breaking into a new market, according to Mike, you have 3 approaches available to you. First, you could be the first. Perhaps you have some new groundbreaking idea or piece of work which is in some way going to be the first of its kind in a market. It may even create a new market in the way that iPods and smartphones did when they first hit the shelves. You may create something as revolutionary as the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album, which challenged many of the ideas and broke many of the rules that surrounded pop music at the time. Being first can be risky business, as Mike suggests. If there is not yet a market for your idea, you might want to find out why, and you might want to find some ways of testing out your idea first to see if it's a good one. The second way Mike suggests you could break a new market is to be better. What products, services, ideas, or creative work are out there in the world today that you could improve upon? What do you consume that niggles you or people that you know? And what's not quite right about those products, services, or gifts? Or maybe you have something to say in a slightly different way, which is the very reason I started this podcast. What products or pieces of work are out there that promise to be good but aren't quite? A quick look at the ratings and reviews on Amazon of media and products may give you some clues there. Third and finally, Mike suggests that being different can be a great way to serve an audience or a market. This approach, in my opinion, is closely related to point 2, which is where being different could be an opportunity to improve upon a product or service or a piece of work that doesn't quite deliver on the results promised. Purple Cow by Seth Godin is a book with some good examples of ideas that are different. One example that has always stuck out in my mind was silk, a kind of milk. A simple yet effective difference in market positioning, which not only implies a smoother drink, but a name that captures curiosity and the imagination. How could you be different? How could what you offer be different? Or a question I prefer, what is your difference? What do you uniquely offer that you are talented and skilled at, that can serve the world in a more positive way?
In order to be different, you've really got to look at your competitors, analyze what are they doing well and where are they struggling. And it's going to be in their struggles that you'll find the things that you can probably do differently than them. So, for example, you could look at competitors or books on Amazon, and you can read all the 1-star reviews and say, hey, and look for common themes. Where are these authors falling short? What are the problems that people bring up again and again? Because those are probably going to be, that's kind of like an underserved area where perhaps you could jump in at and you could angle yourself as solving that particular problem.
To recap then, to break into a new market, Mike suggests that you have 3 approaches. First, to be the first, offering the market something new, solve an old problem or a new problem in a different way. Second is to be better, offer the market something better. What is it that you could improve upon? And third, to be different. Offer the market an alternative. Remember, sometimes being better can be being different too. Before we wrap up today's short action episode, as a bonus, I'd like to share with you 2 of Mike's best tips on how to maintain sustainable action. When it comes to any endeavour, success comes with being in the game for long enough. In episode 255, Mike and I discussed, amongst many other things, how he was able to lose such a large amount of weight over a period of time. In the context of his weight loss, Mike kindly shared with me these tips on how to maintain sustainable action. I believe these tips are particularly helpful when it comes to trying out a new product, service, piece of art or idea in a new or existing market. When it comes to taking a new idea to market, putting it out there, testing it, gaining feedback and then iterating, it takes persistence and sustainable action to succeed. I believe what Mike has to say is relevant to almost any aim that requires sustainable action.
The first thing that I'll say to people is you got to do whatever works for you. And the path that you take may not be the path that everyone else takes. My path was very up and very down, but I found something that was based on science that had a proven track record. And I went that route because I didn't care anymore about what people thought about me. I thought I cared about, am I going to die? There's a big change when you realize that if you don't make changes, you're not going to be there for the people that you care about.
The path that you take may not be the path that anyone else takes. Your path to success will be a unique one. For Mike, it was a matter of life and death. He no longer cared about what anyone else thought. And as we've discussed on this podcast before, you might wish to care less about what others think when you've got important work to do. Mike suggests that you've got to do whatever works best for you. In my experience, unless you are uniquely motivated to do whatever it is you need to do, you're unlikely to sustain yourself for the duration of time that's required to get you there, unless you find a way that works best for you to reach your goals. Mike's motivation was based upon the fact that he genuinely believed he would no longer be around for those that he cared about if he didn't make the changes that he needed to.
So I made sure that the changes that I made were very small changes. So I didn't, in times past, over and over and over, I would fail every single Monday because that's the only day you're allowed to start, I think, when you're going to diet. And I would always say, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and I'm going to bike for an hour and I'm going to come back and drink my egg drop protein shake with green algae juice, and then I'm going to go to the gym and going to do weights and come back and eat my 4 ounces of chicken breast with a side of broccoli, and every time I would make those drastic changes, I would fail.
Mike's second secret to success and taking sustainable action was to make small changes rather than big changes all at once. Mike always failed when he tried to make big changes. all at once. We've talked about successfully introducing new habits before, very early on this podcast series, when I spoke with Michael Bungay-Stanier in episode 7. In that episode, we explored how to successfully change habits in 60 seconds or less. And you can find that episode by heading on over to inspirationalcreatives.com, clicking on the episodes button from the menu at the top, and looking for episode 7. For Mike, introducing successful habits is about introducing small changes and over time.
And so that's the real key, is you got to change who you are. And you do that over time by making lots of small changes.
It's about introducing small changes over time. In my opinion, one of the benefits of making small changes and over time is that if the new small change or habit doesn't work out, your investment has been minimal. A lot less rests or depends upon it. This means that you can keep trying out new things, new ideas, and iterating on those ideas quickly and effectively. So to wrap up this short action episode, we've learned that in order to break into a new market or to break a new idea into an existing market, you have 3 approaches. First, to be the first. Second, to be better. Or third, to be different. Mike's secrets towards taking sustainable action include, first, finding an approach that works well for you, and second, making small changes over time, not big ones. To hear more of Mike's wisdom, his story, and what else he had to say, in an episode that is packed full of ideas like the ones I've shared with you today, head on over to inspirationalcreatives.com, look for the episodes button often on the navigation bar at the very top, and then look for episode 255 where you can hear my full interview with Mike Giannulis. I'd love to hear which of these pieces of Mike's wisdom resonated with you today, so don't be shy or be a stranger. Drop me an email at rob@inspirationalcreatives.com. Join me again soon for another episode of Inspirational Creatives. Thanks for listening today, and I'll chat to you again soon. Thanks for listening. Nothing beats the stories and advice of an expert to help you raise your creative game. I would love to know what you thought about today's episode, so don't forget to subscribe in iTunes where you can rate and review the show. If you like this episode, I invite you to share it on Facebook or Twitter with the one person you know who will benefit from the wisdom shared here today. You can find the show notes on inspirationalcreatives.com/podcast. If you have a burning question or a great idea for a guest, head on over to inspirationalcreatives.com/contact, where you can connect with me there.